Welcome to Extraterrestrial Reality. What if the Pentagon is right? What if Majestic 12 is right? What if it's right to keep the UFO reality away from the public? What if people like me and people who are interested in this topic, people who want to see an end to the secrecy, what if we knew exactly what they know, we would actually agree with them? It's really something to think about because whatever they're sitting on, it must be absolutely terrifying. I mean, the truth, right, must be absolutely terrifying. It must be so mysterious, so many different unknowns associated with it. Whatever they're sitting on for all these years, for 75 years now, it must be absolutely incredibly terrifying. And that's what it has to be. It has nothing to do with reverse engineering recovered technology, which I'm sure that they're doing and they've been doing for a long time. It's unknown how far that project, any of those sorts of projects have gotten. We just don't know. But the reality is that they wouldn't be sitting on it this long because of that reason. I believe that what they know about these visitors is just too much in their minds to just let the public know, because there would be too many questions that they wouldn't be able to answer. And maybe actually people who are crying out for disclosure and demanding disclosure after that it's been too long, in their minds they can't believe, if they wish they could reach out to us and they could just tell us, hey, you got to keep quiet, you just don't know what you're dealing with here. What if that's the case? What if like has been stated recently by Lou Elizondo, I guess in the past couple of years, he pointed out that it could be a concern that if everyone all of a sudden finds out the truth, then that might cause the aliens to act, right? What if that's the case? It could be. It could be something. We just have no idea, and the fact that I'm people like me who want the truth to come out, who want to know more about what's going on, and are tired of this pretend reality that we're being forced to live under, because that's what it is. It's not this reality that most of the world lives under, that we're it, that the human race is it. It's phony. We're living in a false reality, basically, for the most part. I mean, some of us know. I've seen one of these objects, right? So I know. I've encountered one of these beings, so I know that there's something here. I know something's going on. In addition to that, a lot of us have done enough research that we are convinced. I mean, the data is there that shows, there's most certainly a presence here that's intelligent and not human. So if the Pentagon, or better said, would be Majestic 12. We'll call it Majestic 12. I always say this. I don't know what it's called these days, but it seems at one point there was a secret group within the Pentagon that called itself Majestic 12. Whether it still goes by MJ12 or not, nobody really knows, because they're pretty good at keeping this a secret. They've been really good at keeping this a secret for 75 years. Yes, there have been leaks. There are different leaks that come out. For instance, the Wilson Davis notes. Okay, that's a leak. Those notes were real. They were really real notes from that were taken, and they tell you that they tell you what's going on behind the scenes. I mean, there's other things. There's been documents. We've seen documents, actually official, declassified documents that tell us this. So we know that there's something going on. Anybody who studied this knows this. But overall, we don't have somebody coming up and announcing. There's never been any sort of an announcement by anybody. But here's the deal: there's only most people in the Pentagon, I would probably guesstimate probably 99% or higher, actually maybe 99.5% of employees of the Pentagon, generals and employees, everybody. They don't know the truth. There's only like a small percentage within some certain group that's within the Pentagon that knows the truth. And those people throughout the years they do not want to make this public. I mean, there has to be changes over the years. People die and new people take over, and the same people over and over and over again have, for whatever reason, believe that this is something that needs to be kept from the public. So it's very possible that there are things that we do not know about. And just from I know this is against everything that I do and a lot of other people do, people interested in ufology, right? But what I'm saying is I could be wrong. People who want the disclosure could actually be wrong, and we just don't know it. And there's absolutely nothing that the people in the MJ12 group could do to tell us that we're wrong, because if they do, then that's basically disclosure. If they were to come up and say, hey, look, we know you know, but you just got to keep it quiet. That you can't do that. How are you going to do that? You can't have a general who sits on a 12-member MJ12 board stepping up to a podium and saying something like, now look we just want you to stop talking about UFOs for a while. We think it's in the best interest of not only our country, but the entire human race. So let's just not talk about it anymore. And then just walks away. You can't do that, because that's like saying something that there is something to it. That would be telling. That would be telling the truth. That would be acknowledging, yes, there are extraterrestrials here. Well, now, what is it? What could possibly be so frightening? I think it's probably a lot of the things that we talk about in this podcast. I think it could be the fact that this could be a colonization program that's been ongoing, and there could be a hybridization program that's part of that somehow. They're basically slowly taking over, slowly absorbing humankind, and there's groups of people behind the scenes who are trying to figure out how to stop this. And by blurting out the truth on this, it could cause, if that's what's going on, then that means these hybrids, like as David M. Jacobs likes to call them, basically a hybrid that's so human-like you can't tell, but they possess the same kind of abilities that these alien visitors have, because that's who made them and put them here and put them in place throughout the world. They're going to know that we know, and then they're going to say, okay, that's the end game. Everybody knows now, so I guess it's time to act. That's what could be going on here. I mean, what could be going on here is, like, behind the scenes, there could possibly be some gigantic concerns amongst the people who know within the Pentagon, the small group of people that know the absolute truth, that have absolute full access to all the materials and proof, basically. And they know that if this comes out, that it could cause unbelievable havoc. It could be it could spur the end of humankind almost instantaneously. Maybe. I don't know. That could be one of their concerns. I'm not saying that's what it is, but makes you wonder. I mean, there's a lot of us out there that know. I mean, I know that there's something going on here, right? And it also makes you wonder about some of the debunkers out there. Very, very smart people. And I'm not talking about some of the people I regularly talk about, like Mick West. I'm talking about some of the really popular faces out there who have been debunkers for a long time. Bill Nye, the science guy. I mean, very popular. Everyone seems to love this guy. But when it comes to UFOs, he thinks it's all crazy talk. Neil deGrasse Tyson, very popular astronomer. He shows up all over the place, writing big books all the time. Very popular guy, very personable, very entertaining. But he basically downplays the whole UFO business. There's no proof as far as he's concerned. Like, he makes really dumb statements sometimes about it too. But when you really think about it, let's sit back and wonder here. Are these guys just being deliberately dumb? I mean, they could actually there's either a couple of things going on here, right? Possibly. Again, all of this is speculation, right? But there could be a couple of things going on here that we just need to consider. It could be very possible that people like Bill Nye, the science guy, or Neil deGrasse Tyson and others of their ilk, right? Very popular scientists who everyone seems to know and love, they're basically household names, right? There could be people like that out there that actually do know the truth, that have been brought in on this and have been told that we need to keep this quiet. They could be, they could be basically in on the secret themselves and understand it's important that we don't talk about this publicly. It's important that the public doesn't know about this, that we can't acknowledge this yet. We're not ready. Right. That's one possibility. Another possibility is that, here's the thing that always troubles me with guys like that. Right. They're smart guys. I mean, they are very smart. They're smarter than I am. Right. But yet they don't believe this, even though I know I've done the research and I know that there's something here. And plus I had my own experiences. But yet guys like that they still debunk it. They still don't believe it. They don't buy any of it. Right. So it makes you wonder, okay, why would that be? Could it be that they just realize this? Maybe they do understand it, right? Maybe there are some debunkers out there like these guys who actually have acknowledged in come to their own conclusions in their mind that yes, there is something here, right? Based on all this evidence. I mean, how could anybody with intelligence like those two guys look at all the evidence and just say, oh no, there's nothing here. I don't believe it. How could they be debunkers? It doesn't make any sense unless they know they thought about this, right? And they understand, wait a minute, if the government's covering this up, there must be a really good reason. So you know what? I'm just going to go along with the ruse, right? I'm just going to go along with this pretend reality that there's nothing here or we have no idea what's going on. What if that's what's going on? That's very possible. Again, just pure speculation, right? I don't know. I mean, there are some other very popular scientists out there who have stepped forward. I mean, look at Gary Nolan. But look at someone like Michio Kaku. He's been around a long time. He's talking about, he believes it's very possible that there's aliens here. Like, he's come to accept it, but in his mind, he's not thinking about any reason. Apparently, he doesn't care. Either that or he just hasn't considered it. But he thinks that, yeah, a lot of these things that the government's been showing us, some of these videos and from 2017 that were leaked, like some of that stuff could be extraterrestrial. And he actually believes that there's extraterrestrials. He stated this. He believes that there are extraterrestrials and it seems that they're here. So you have to wonder about some of these really smart guys. What would their reason be for pretending they don't believe in it, or actually not believing it, which I find hard to believe. I find hard to believe that someone of the intelligence of a Neil deGrasse Tyson could actually, with a straight face, pretty much debunk the reality that there's extraterrestrials here. I mean, how could he have not looked at this research? Someone who's interested in the universe and the stars and everything else, and he hasn't looked at this. He hasn't studied this stuff. How could someone of his mentality, of his genius, of his brilliance, not know this? How could someone like Bill Nye, the science guy, be a debunker? With all the evidence, all the books that have been written. And when you look at the debunker side of things, all their arguments always fall apart. In the end, they always fall apart. There's nothing to it. So it brings me back to what I'm saying here. It could be that this is whatever going on could be absolutely so disturbing that they fear of how the public reaction would be. What could some of those things be? Like we talked about on here a lot. These things could be colonizing. They could be drinking that's what explains the cattle mutilations and the missing blood. They could be here to drink our blood. They could be here to use us as food. We just don't know what the government knows. And that's why they have to keep it quiet. So when they see people like me or Lou Elizondo or all these other people trying to push for a disclosure, Jeremy Corbell, like all these different people out there that want disclosure, they in their minds they're thinking, oh my God, if they just knew the truth, they wouldn't be doing this. They wouldn't be acting like this. Because right now, behind the scenes, what we're trying to come up with a solution, but we can't come up with that solution publicly. If the whole world knows, then we're all done. It's possible. Which brings me to the end of this whole problem is that I think you got, no matter what, right, you still got to come out with the truth. I mean, okay, yeah, whatever it is, right, whatever it is, even if it's even more terrifying than anything we could ever even imagine, right, whatever it is, it needs to be brought up to the public. The public needs to be made aware of what's happening here, what's going on. What's their end game? What do you think is going on? I mean, we need to all know. We've been treated like children for 75 years now. We need to move on. We need to move forward. It doesn't matter. No matter how terrifying it is, no matter what secret you're sitting on, by doing that, by trying to keep it secret again, it makes it look suspicious. That means somebody within the Pentagon there might be alien infiltration. As crazy as that might sound, how do you know? Why is the Pentagon still wanting to keep this secret when you started pulling the lid off 5 years ago? Now you want to try to put it back on again? See, again, maybe I don't know all the facts again, and that's where it comes back. It's all a big circle here. That's why the only way to end all of this is to come out with the truth, and then let's see where everything falls. Let's see where the shoe drops then.